Hey folks, well today we're making the most delicious Sindhi biryani. Sindh province is in Pakistan. Biryani is typically Pakistani, and this is going to be an absolute delight. So what have we got here? We've got ginger paste and garlic paste. You can buy those in bottles from any good Indian or Pakistani shop. However, I did that fresh. These are the spices, the biryani spices. I'm going to also add some hot Kashmiri chili powder, some turmeric, some ground cumin, and some ground coriander, and a few cloves. I've cut up a lot of onions, just simply loads. And here's my chicken. A 3-pound bird gave me around 1.8 kilos after I butchered it. I've using the rib cage and various bits like the neck and other bits for a chicken stock. And I'm also going to add some potatoes later on in the curry. Okay. So as you can see, I'm butchering a whole chicken. You always want to make a curry with the meat on the bone. So I'll get this quartered up and we'll continue. So the first step is the ginger and garlic paste. Get as much as we can of that in. I'm going to cook this not in too high a heat, don't want it to burn. Lovely fragrance. Right, garlic and ginger's cooked a bit, beginning to stick to the bottom, caramelize. Perfect time to add the onions. I've cooked a lot, cut a lot of onions because that gives an excellent base for the curry, loads of flavor. So I'm going to put those in there. And a trick for onions is a fair amount of salt to sweat the onions and to make sure the whole curry is flavored. Looks like I'm overdoing it, but did this the other day and it just turns out delicious. So give a lot more salt than you think you need because it's got to flavor the rice as well. At a certain point, onions start to cook very quickly and can burn. So you've got to be moving the spatula all the time. I use this one with a straight edge because it's really good at scraping anything that sticks to the surface, caramelizes. But you have to keep on moving and stirring, otherwise it can start to burn. And the other thing you can do is turn down the fire a tiny bit in this final phase. Still a bit to go though. Right, we can see that the onions are super brown now. There's lots of caramelization. You don't want to be turning them all the time. You can let them fry a bit, almost to the point of sticking, and then move them. That gets all that flavor in. When they slightly stick to the bottom, that caramelization gives loads of flavor to the curry. And you can see it because it becomes extra brown. So now, I think we're going to start adding in the chicken. Oops. Okay. Keep on adding it in. I'm going to turn up the heat a bit because the temperature in the pan is going to go down with all this new material. Oh, look at that. Oh, it's just getting coated. Oh, still some more to go. It's a big batch this, but I believe in cooking big and then storing it. And biryani, believe me, it's not only better the next day, it's better several days later, and then if you freeze it, it just still keeps on getting better all the time. So there's literally no disadvantage to cooking a huge batch if you can manage it. And then you've got ready food whenever you're just too tired one day, or you've got friends coming over and you just can't be bothered to cook a big meal. This is waiting for you in the freezer. Just take it out and bring it to room temperature, and it's better than when you cooked it almost. So I always cook no less than 1.5 kilos of meat. This is where you have to be a bit careful, because if you don't turn all of it, it can start sticking. Okay, I'm going to bring the temperature down a tiny bit now. Ooh. Don't want to lose any of this delicious onion. Right, time for some more salt. Remember that onion, if it stays in the bottom for too long, it's going to start burning. So manage your heat carefully. Oh, it's kind of sealing it in. And now, it's almost too much chicken for this wok. I'm going to start adding the spices. So, because I'm going to be a tiny bit distracted, I'm turning the heat right down so it doesn't burn. And I get the spices in there. That's one packet. And here's the other packet for about 1 kilo. Right. Wow. Just keep on stoning this over. Oh, that just smells heavenly. Sorry to make your mouth water, but that's kind of the purpose of cooking, isn't it? So now I'm going to add in the extra spices. So a bit of turmeric. Careful with turmeric, it stains like mad. Some more chili powder. It's going to be an extra powerful curry. I'm going to put in 3 or 4 cloves. Here's the cumin. And the coriander, or as the Indians say, dhania. Right, that will do me nicely. Get that out of the way. Now this has been cooking for a while. I'm going to start adding in some tomato puree. I'll use all of that. There's a lot of chicken. bring a lovely sweetness and acidity to the dish. Oh, and hear how it's gone quiet. Put this right down to a simmer. Lower setting. So I let that chicken cook down. I boiled the potatoes after cutting them into small pieces separately for 8 minutes. Tested it with a fork to see if it's soft. I moved the chicken to this big pot because we're going to cook the rice on top, remember? And I've combined those boiled potatoes and it's just simmering away. Just ready for the rice to go on top. Very juicy. Yummy, yummy. Right, so now the rice is done about 80%. I'm gonna just spoon it over. Quite a lot of rice because there's quite a lot of chicken. I put about 600 grams of rice in for about 1.8 kilos of chicken. I'm not saying it's the right proportion. You've kind of got to experiment, but really it's an awful lot of rice. Even if you cook just 500 grams, it's an awful lot of rice. You could feed easily 8-10 people with the biryani from 500 grams of rice and a kilo and a half of chicken. So don't be fooled, the rice expands a lot. Don't cook too much. Try and get the proportions right because otherwise people will say there's not enough chicken in my biryani. So I'm going to put this over. I think that's about right. Try and make sure the chicken's flat before you spoon the rice over. Right, now a couple of finishing touches. Just while it cooks, and then we're going to add some more things later. I've put some curry leaves, but meaty leaves are the best. Curry leaves come out with bring out their fragrance when they've been cooked at high temperature, so I fried them a bit in oil. You don't want to put them on raw. You'll get a horrible flavor. I'll put on some coriander leaves and mint leaves at the end. And now I'm going to put on some coloring. Now, you'll only get this stuff in the Indian shop, but I've got some red food coloring mixed with some water, just a few drops. And I've managed to find some biryani essence and some saffron essence, which gives a wonderful aroma and this distinctive biryani coloring to the rice, which is this red coloring. That always makes it much more authentic, and these essences have an incredible flavor to them. So I recommend, if you can find them, to try and use them. See how pretty that is? Now I'm gonna just leave this on and let this simmer until the rice is done, when it starts getting really fluffy. Well, you can see that's cooking away. The rice is nearly done. Just a few minutes longer. There's some mint leaves on there as well, fresh coriander leaves, and at the end I'm going to put on some fried dried onions that you can buy in packets. So this is the final step. The rice is done, and I'm just covering the top of this biryani with the most delicious topping, which is dried, crispy, fried onions that gives it an amazing touch. Sweetness of the onions complements the saltiness of the curry and the strength of those spices and those delicious leaves. And this is just ready to go. Wow. I'm now going to turn it over and get it all mixed up. Oh, you can see that beautifully colored rice. Oh. This is the best moment of every biryani, is getting it all mixed up, letting those flavors seep through that rice, all those sauces, juices from the meat. It's just gonna blend together to give it that really distinctive biryani flavor. It's a unique dish, Pakistani dish. But if you want to eat a really good biryani, you can also go to Southall near Heathrow Airport, the Indian Pakistani community, or I'm sure even in Tooting, which I went to the other day. Amazed at the quality of the food there. Ah, just look at that. Don't tell me that is not an absolute treat. Right folks, that's about it. Tune in for another delicious dish on our channel, Faith and Food. See you soon. Right, well, let's do a final zoom in on this biryani. You can see all those delicious colors, and you can almost taste it. It's the potato, the chicken, the leaves, mint leaves, the coriander leaves, the saffron. Oh my gosh. When you come to Madrid, I'll prepare this for you. Cheers, folks. Take care.